So the problem for you right now is it still requires your conscious attention versus developing a new habit, right? A new way of being, a new immersion. And that's really basically why we do events. That's why we do immersion events, not 2 hours, but it's 4 days when I do it. And people come for 8, 10, 12 hours a day. And they wouldn't sit for a 3-hour movie that somebody spent $300 million and we keep them captivated. Because when you do that day and night, and that's like if you want to learn a language and you go a little bit at a time, like most people do in high school and college, they can't speak the language later on.
Right.
But if I wanted to have you learn Italian and you had the time and money, I'd just drop you in Italy and pick you up in 3 months, and I guarantee you'll be speaking Italian because you're immersed. So I use immersion to do that. So right now, as long as you're doing what you're doing, it's a battle. But when you change the conditioning, it'll just be automatic.
How do you not focus on what you can't control? What's the Tony way?
Well, I've trained myself like a muscle. It's not like I'm such a good person. It's just I know to go that place is so deadly. It's so destructive. And there was a stage of my life when I didn't know whether I wanted to be here or not. And when I saw that and I took that in and realized what was creating it, I vowed in my life, I will never go to that place again. It's not from a personal, moral, spiritual perspective, God appreciating perspective, to take your own life would be insane. And so that's what it can eventually lead to for some people. You create enough focus on what's wrong, what's not, you don't have love, you don't have a life, you don't have who you're supposed to be. You come up with enough negative meanings, enough negative emotion, and some people add alcohol or drugs to that, then you're really got a good chance of doing something stupid. And so I drew the line in the sand so intensely when I was 17 years old because I saw that's where I was and I didn't want to go there again. But I've also trained myself. It's like the day, it was funny, I had this woman that was, I don't know, I think she's like 78, 79, almost 80 years old. And she went to I went to 3 different cities and she was in the front row. And she was, it's a stadium and she jumping. I mean, I couldn't believe it. She was going so full tilt. And so she came up to me during a break and she wanted to take a picture, which I was happy to do. And I said, hey, do you think I'm the Grateful Dead or something? I said, I think this is your 3rd event. Am I right? She goes, no, it's my 4th. You missed one. I was further back. And I said, well, I said, why do you come? She goes, well, it's like, I get so much out of it. And it's like, you talk about repetition as the mother of mastery. And I said, well, let me give you a clue. That's why I come. I said, because, guess what? I teach this stuff, so I live it. So it's like if I do this over and over again, it gets in your body. So I've trained myself to do that. Now, that doesn't mean there aren't moments that it happens, but it changes so quick because I know the consequence. But for your listeners, most people tend to focus, number one, on what's missing,